Hi again then guys, and welcome to another Sleeper Spec circuit build. And for those who are perhaps new to the series, basically what we do in this series is we take a vehicle which is as good as it is, and then we upgrade it for circuit racing, but in such a way that nobody could really tell. So it has the same PP, the same power, and the same weight as the stock vehicle. Now in order to do these builds, you need to have not done an oil change, ideally, because otherwise the PP and the power won't match up with the stock vehicle. That's one of the reasons why I try to do this with slightly more affordable vehicles, so that for those of you who do decide to do it, you don't have to fork out a ridiculous amount of money. And with these tunes, the worse the vehicle that you start with, the more impressive it usually looks once you've done this kind of tune to it. So, in this particular Sleeper Spec build, we've taken a vehicle which has a lot of potential and an impressive spec, but doesn't necessarily deliver on it, and that's the Shelby Mustang. Huge power, in fact supercar levels of power, but far from being supercar levels of performance around the track. So, for our Sleeper Spec build, I've kept it on sports softs. Obviously you can go for racing softs and it will be even better. We've got racing brakes, which is pretty much the only way that you can tell that this car isn't stock. But even then, somebody would have to have a pretty meticulous eye to notice that. As far as suspension, we've got the ride height the same as stock, so 130 front and rear. Springs we've rounded up to 1025 and 950. The dampers to 5. We've left the anti-roll on 3. We've got neutral, camber and tow. For the gearbox, we want an auto setting of 205. Then for the individual gears, 3650, 2425, 1750, 1350, 1075 and 900, with a final drive of 3.1. For our diff, and I would as always encourage to mess around basically with the diff to find out what works best for you. I've got the initial torque on 20 and the acceleration and braking on 50 to keep it under control a bit more, make it a bit less tail happy and be able to put more of that power down without just shredding its tyres. We've also got the prop shaft, clutch and flywheel upgraded. No power upgrades of course whatsoever. Technically speaking, you can actually fit NOS and nobody would know, but I haven't done that. And obviously stock weight also. So that's it overall for the mechanical Sleeper Spec build. Now let's take it out to the Suzuka circuit to see what a difference it makes. Now, as always, I have put both the stock and Sleeper tuned lap times on this track for this car in the description below. And even though I'm far from being the fastest of drivers, the difference that this tune makes is significant, especially considering that Suzuka is nowhere near the kind of size track as something which we would usually show the difference on, such as the Nürburgring Ring. On the Nürburgring Ring we see huge differences, 30, sometimes even 40 seconds of difference between the stock car and the Sleeper Spec tune. On this track though, even though this is far smaller than the Nürburgring Ring, the difference in the lap time was massive. The stock tune, as you'll have seen from the description, was just under 2 minutes 20 seconds. With the Sleeper Spec build, it was just over 2:11.5 seconds. So over 8 seconds quicker around Suzuka, despite still only having sports softs and no discernible upgrades. So as far as anyone else could tell, it's still a stock vehicle, but it's actually far better than stock. If you go for racing soft tyres and fit that optional NOS, you'll go even quicker. And obviously the longer the track, the bigger the difference you'll see. So you take this thing around Sierra or the Nürburgring Ring and you'll notice some pretty massive differences in lap time. So if you decide to use the Sleeper Spec build, obviously I hope you find it fun and definitely more competitive for racing. And if you are new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe down below to keep up with other builds like this in the future. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.